Put this video together is because in an online electric ink designs workshop a few people asked how to resize the digital downloads. There are of course plenty of other options when it comes to programs to use, but as I have Microsoft Word and I use it a lot, and I've used it a lot through my years of work to add images and photos to different Word documents, I thought this would be a good opportunity to share what I know. I need to say this video is not sponsored by Electric Ink Designs or any other company. I'm not being paid to make this video. I also want to point out that I have zoomed in on my screen and I've got a green highlight on my cursor which will hopefully make it easier for you to see what I'm doing. First, I'm going to draw a size guide and explain why this is a good idea. I have my Word document open and ready to go. First thing I'm going to do is draw a shape to use as a size guide. On the toolbar at the top on the left hand side, click Insert and then click Shapes. I'm going to use the rectangle, but you could do any shape that you want. This means that you then have a size reference for your digital image, which is really handy if you want to print it for a certain card size, matte and layer, or maybe an ATC. I'm going to do an ATC. I'm going to draw the rough shape of the rectangle on the screen. Once I've drawn the shape format toolbar pops up at the top, which means I can resize the shape to give me a size guide to use against my images. So I'm just changing this to the size of an ATC. It does look bigger on the screen, but it would print out at the size of an ATC. Next I click on the shape, click on the layout options, which is a small box attached to the shape, and select the middle box from the top row which is labelled tight. This allows me to move the shape around the screen anywhere on the page within the margins. Next I'm going to resize the digital image. I just want to move this size guide out of the way. On the toolbar, click Insert. Then we click Pictures and this device. This is where all my digital downloads are stored on my computer. I'm in the Electric Ink Designs folder. I'm going to go to the Landscapes or Inkscapes folder, sorry. The Inkscapes collection was released on the 16th of June, so if you'd like to buy it, then head over to the Electric Ink Designs Facebook page and send a private message. I'm going to pick London just because that's one of my favourite images from this collection. Now obviously this is far too big. So to resize it, I go to the layout options, which is this box attached to the image. I select the middle box on the top row, which is called tight. I can then move the image around the screen and resize it. To resize it, you need to use the double tipped arrow, which appears when you hover the cursor over the corner circle. I can then make the image bigger or smaller. And of course I've got my size guide to make sure it's the right size. I always recommend using the corner circle to resize, because if you take the ones at the edge or the bottom, you end up distorting your image, which I'll show you now. You can see a white border around the image, and although that won't print it off, if you crop it, it will give you more room on the page to put more images on. So to crop it, I select the image, then go up into the top right hand corner where it says crop. There's a drop down menu, again select crop. Then in the right hand corner I can grab that black handle and shrink the sides in so I get rid of that border. You can do it by the top and the bottom as well. So now I've chopped off the white borders. I can now make that the same size as my ATC. So I'm going to resize it a little bit, but then I want to chop off this bottom piece. So again I'm going to crop, and then just take the handle and drag it up so I can slice that bottom piece off. Click off it and you can now see that it's the same size as my size guide. Now we can rotate or flip our image. Next to the crop button on the toolbar is the rotate button with a drop down menu. So we select our image, then select the rotate and it'll bring down a drop down menu with all the different rotations and flips. So if I flip the image, the bus is now on the other side of the street. You can also use the circle arrow at the top of the image to rotate, but by using the button in the toolbar it's a lot more accurate. Now I'm going to stamp my image multiple times. So if you click on the image, right click, it'll bring up a menu. Then you can pick copy, click off the image anywhere on the page, right click again, it'll bring up the same menu but with a clipboard with a picture. We can then paste the picture. Change the layout to tight again so you can move that anywhere around the page. Now I want to create a scene by layering up some other stamps. I'm going to use one of the Electric Ink Design's character images, which are affectionately known as dollies. So I need to go back to my file, insert, pictures, this device, and then I'm going to the Urban Muse, which was released on the 9th of June. We've got a lot of characters in this one as well as a couple of scenes. I'm going to pick this image because it's a PNG file, so it's a PNG file, and it's really important that it's a PNG file so we can see through the back, because otherwise the image will just obliterate our background. Then I just need to follow the previous steps to make her the right size. Obviously I need to bear in mind perspective on this because the foreground needs to be smaller and my dolly will be at the front and be larger. Now you can see that we can see around the background of her, so when we move her over to our background and our scene of London, we can see that behind her. It's a lot easier to move multiple images that are layered up if they're in a group. At the moment, if I move the background scene, I then have to move the front image, and then I have to spend time trying to configure where to put her so she makes sense again. But if I select the picture, then press Shift and select the front image, and then right click, and I can select Group off the drop down menu. That groups the images together and I can move the whole thing. Also means that I can resize them together as well. If I want to ungroup them, I just click off it, click back on, right click, and then select Ungroup, and now they're separate images again. This is a really quick, simple tip to bring an image to the front. So I've actually got two images on here, but Electra is hiding behind the building. So what I want to do is bring her to the front. So I select her, right click, bring to front, and now she moves in front of the building. I can also put her to the back by the same thing. So if I right click on her, and then it says send to back, and now she's behind the building again. Before I move on to the bonus idea, it would really help me out if you took a few seconds to subscribe to my channel and tap the bell for notifications of my new videos. Your support is really appreciated and helps my channel grow. Thank you. As a little bonus idea, I'm going to do a mirror image, and also I'm going to recap some of the steps that we've already been through. So I'm going to go to the Insert, Pictures, this device. I'm going to go to my Inkscapes, and I'm going to pick the castle, which is this design here. Then we go to our layout options and we select tight, and now I can shrink it, but I also need to rotate it. So I'm going over to the rotate, and I'm going to rotate it so it's the right way up. I'm going to shrink it a little bit more and just bring it up to the top of the screen. And now I'm going to crop some of it. So I go over to my crop, take the handles and drag it in. I'm going to do both sides and the bottom just to get rid of the white space. Click off, and now I've cropped my image. Now I'm going to make a duplicate of it. So I'll right click, copy, click off it, right click and paste. And now I need to turn this one. So I'll go back over to my rotate, and I can flip it vertically. I just need to make it tight so I can move it. And now it matches up to our top image. Then we go up to the transparency, and we can change how light it is. So this one is 0, which basically means that it is an exact copy. Then we've got 15%, 30%, 50%, 65, 80 and 95. 95 is a bit too pale, and I'm not sure you're going to be able to see 80, so I will bring it up to 65, but I think 80 would be a good one for a very good reflection, but I'm going to use the 65 just so we can see it. Now we can group our images together. So we've already selected this bottom one. We hit the shift key and select the top, right click and group them together. Now we can move our image and we can also resize it, and they'll both be exactly the same size. There are a lot more things you can do in Word with your digital images, including frames, artistic effects, colour choices. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the main reason for making this was to help out a few people who asked how to resize their digital images from electric ink designs, and this is how I do mine. If you found it useful, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment, and until next time, cheerio.